Oh, this is the Insta360 One X, and it is arguably one of the greatest 360 cameras ever made. We're doing a giveaway. I'll tell you how to win it at the end of the video. Okay, so it doesn't look like much, but this little box provides you with 5.7K 30 frames per second video. Pretty impressive. 360 cameras have always been something to me that felt a little bit like a novelty in that I tried the Ricoh, it's the Ricoh Theta S version 360 camera a while back, and I wasn't really impressed with it. Although the image quality was okay, uploading that 360 video to YouTube really fell flat. But with the One X, I was wildly surprised. I've spent some time with this camera and I want to take you through a couple of scenarios where I put some of the features of this camera to the test. A great way to pass time in your videos is with time lapses, and that's something that Insta360 One X does really good. I've got the invisible selfie stick and I use my super wide tripod so that the wind doesn't knock it over. We're just gonna set it right here at the top of this boardwalk and get time lapse of the ocean, the house, everything all together. That's the beauty of shooting in 360, like it captures everything. Does handle time lapses really well. And as I was mentioning, the invisible selfie stick is something that you must have if you get one of these cameras because it's super duper useful. It goes, whoa! Holy crayons! You can extend this thing super far, right? And the advantage of having this invisible selfie stick is that when you're filming with this, the camera stitches out this stick so well, it literally becomes invisible. You don't see it at all. And I think that creates for some really unique perspectives in a situation where you can be filming yourself, it looks third person, you don't see the stick at all. It just looks like a floating camera, and that is super duper cool. So having the invisible selfie stick allows you to do some really cool shots like a hyperlapse. Another thing the Insta360 One X does super good is hyperlapses. Now hyperlapses generally, they let you focus on a particular object while also being a time lapse. You have like movement and a time lapse happening at the same time. So we're gonna try one right here on the pier, but this one's gonna be a little different, the pier being the stationary object, and I'm gonna just walk past. The interesting part about this type of application is any people that are around, their movements will be blurred out with motion blur. So you may have noticed during that clip that it is relatively smooth. And I'll be 100% honest with you. I am literally holding this upright and casually walking down that boardwalk. And you can see very little shake. That's because of the stabilization that Insta360 One X has built into this camera. So naturally I have to test the stabilization, so I put it up against one of my other cameras, and here's what happened. Now, one of the greatest reasons I love this camera is because of something they've packed in here called flow state stabilization. It's a digital stabilization that makes this footage look so smooth, you'll think it was on a gimbal. So what we're gonna do is a couple of test shots out here on the beach. And this first shot, I'm gonna chase behind the boys using this camera right here. It's a DSLR GH4, just a standard camera, no stabilization. I'm gonna try and keep it as still as possible. Okay, so clearly I'm not a human gimbal. I try, but not very stable, right? So in this clip, I'm going to take the Insta360 One X, run behind them, and I'm going to try my best not to even try and keep this camera still. I'm going to see how well it does on its own. See what I mean? Like, this thing is crazy good The stabilization it just blows my mind. That alone is the sole purpose why I would recommend this camera. The stabilization is so cool, and the fact that you can frame your shot afterwards and it's capturing everything, it takes all the guesswork out of framing, and there's no reason why this shouldn't be in your bag. Yeah, so anything that can stabilize itself digitally like that definitely deserves a spot in your camera bag. But you know what? The stabilization isn't the best part. There's so many other cool features like bullet time. Insta makes this little combo tripod slash bullet time handle, and it makes some really cool shots. So what you do is you take your invisible selfie stick, you just screw it onto your bullet time handle, make sure it's nice and snug. In the app, you want to set your mode to bullet time, and you can produce some really cool shots like this. They've created some really useful accessories to help you get unique shots. I think a lot of creating content online is making footage that differentiates you from the other creators. So getting unique shots and perspectives is really important. And the fact that Insta360 decided to go out of their way and create a custom-made handle to help you make bullet time shots, it just is it's an homage to their thought process and engineering to help create a really, really cool camera. And on the topic of accessories, there are some other cool accessories like the drifter case. Yeah, so I'm gonna demonstrate the drifter case in here where I feel it's a little bit safe, but this thing is super durable. It's very hard. These fins are like super hard and they won't allow the lens to make contact with the ground. But obviously you don't want to do it in the sand because you might get sand shoved up in your buttons and all that stuff. Now you need to change, when you turn the camera on, you need to change your resolution to 3K and the frame rate to 100 frames per second. And the great thing about this camera is you can change all those settings by using the small button here and just go through to video, click over to 5.7 until it reaches 3K 100 frames. Boom, boom. Done. Let's do it. Right, that looks super duper cool. Definitely a novelty shot, and if you can get it right and it flips the right way, you don't get the fins in the back in the shot, it's a keeper. Like, that's cool. I never even imagined to put my camera inside here and throw it across the room. Like, I mean, who comes up with that stuff, honestly? They do also have underwater housings because this camera out of the box is not waterproof. So you will need a housing to put this in to be able to go underwater and film. However, I don't have one of those, so I was unable to test that. But just imagine, all you have to do is take your camera underwater with you within the housing, and you're gonna get, like, you don't have to focus on what you're filming. Just go down underwater, swim around, and know that your 360 camera is literally capturing everything. Another great reason why you might want to use a 360 camera is that you can just set it anywhere, and then after you film your clip, you can make it frame whatever you want. So I can just walk around here, the camera follows me, it's perfect. And that's where most of the magic of this camera and why I love it so much comes into play. And that's the fact that you can literally take all this 360 camera footage into your phone and frame your shot with keyframes however you want. So using the Insta360 One App, assuming that you already have some footage, you're gonna import clips right into the app. All you have to do is connect to the camera wirelessly and import your footage. You just click camera and then you choose, let's say, this clip here, and you're gonna choose an in and out point. Instead of like bringing the whole video in, you can choose to select only a part of it. This one's only 55 seconds, so we'll just hit the import button up here. When it finishes importing it, it's gonna open it up, and this is where the magic happens. This is where you can do all the cool editing right here from your phone. So let's say we wanna incorporate this clip into a vlog, so we can change the aspect ratio to 16:9. If you wanna do this for Instagram, it can be 1:1. I think being able to change the aspect ratio is so awesome. At the beginning of the clip, I want it to stay right on that truck. So I'm gonna press and hold it and then hit pivot point. Let it play for a second, and then let's hit another pivot point on that truck. So it's gonna stay there for that duration. Let it play for a second more, and then let's spin it around to over here. Press and hold, pivot point. Let's have it stay there for a second. Add another pivot point. Now if you swing it back and play that, you'll see that it's animating the camera movement as if it were someone holding it. It's epic. Let's say we want this cool time lapse to be a Instagram post, so let's change the aspect ratio 1:1, pinch and zoom it out to tiny planet mode, and that's super duper cool. Let's say we love that, we want to share it out, just hit the share button, save it to your album, and then you can do the fixed frame, or you can export it as a traditional 360 video where you can look around yourself. The option's up to you, and then export and you're done. And just like that, you've created a regular looking video clip using a 360 camera from your phone. Like, I know you're gonna love this camera just as much as I do, and I'm really excited to be giving one of these away to you guys. All you have to do to win this camera is go down below to the link in the description and subscribe to Insta360 One X. Also, go down in the comments and leave me a little note. Let me know what you're gonna film when you get this. Are you gonna do some bullet time clips? Are you gonna rock around with this fully extended and get some really cool invisible selfie stick clips? The options are limitless, literally. Thumbs up this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and I will see you on the next one.